Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email us tmosso@the1916company.com for purchase, pricing, and availability questions regarding this watch. Today, we discuss a model that launched with the third generation Overseas family back in 2016. This version is now discontinued. You're looking at the Vacheron Constantin Overseas Perpetual Calendar Ultra Thin. While it is still a model manufactured, this combination of a steely gray dial and white gold case is no longer offered, so this is a discontinued and highly sought collectible. It is the most subdued version of the third generation Perpetual Calendar and a lovely watch that lives up to its ultra thin billing. 41.5 millimeters in diameter, it's only 8.4 millimeters thick, and unlike the other third generation Overseas watches, which have bracelets that flare out and can't be pulled straight down, this one has unimpeded flexibility to pull 90 degrees down out of the lugs for small wrist fit. It's weighty though, all in white gold. You do feel where the money went, so being thin, it doesn't feel insubstantial. The watch wears beautifully on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist, and I'm going to show you that right now so you can get a sense of just how well this can fit on a wrist as small, in my opinion, as 14 centimeters circumference. It is ultra thin, it truly is. The movement inside, despite being a modular Perpetual Calendar, is only 4.05 millimeters thick, and you can see how much clearance I have on each side down the barrel. The watch will fit really easily. Over the top, which exaggerates the width of a watch, you can actually see it's still a pretty good fit, and then the cuff shot, no problem, slides under any sleeve. The bracelet, the case, this is a big part of what you're paying for. Now, it's gray gold, which means it's the best kind of white gold. It never needs to be rhodium plated, and it's white all the way through, so if it's scratched, it's the same color underneath. The finishing is exquisite. Look at the polish, contrasting with the satin-finished recesses of the bezel. Polish on the bezel top, satin on the plinth beneath. We have a brushed directional grain on the lug hoods, and then we have polish on the flank and expanding bevel that runs perfectly aligned across the shoulders of the links, which are on their outer faces polished. Over their tops, satination, and you can see these Maltese cross-style recurring motifs designed to look like the logo of the company. And then they have these wonderful interior polished crevices, and it must take hours just to finish this bracelet, just the bracelet. Taking a look at the sizing options, you can see every single link on the bracelet is removable. And then we have an intermediate size link so you can fine tune even more. And then we have these sleeved 1.5 millimeter micro adjustable extensions that allow still more fine tuning. You can see that this buckle is a double deployant with twin trigger release, so pressing one trigger is not enough. You have to press both to open it up. That's security. And then you can see how the Maltese cross is formed when the two sides join. Rolling around, you can appreciate that this is a very thin watch. There's not a whole lot of case profile, and it has a push-down crown with a 50-meter water resistance, so I'm going to say that's more than a standard dress watch. Standard would be 30, but I still don't recommend with a push-down crown and a 50-meter rating to take this watch actually swimming. But rain and splashes while washing your hands, you're good to go. We have a spectacular anthracite gray metallic sunburst dial base. Outboard, there's a little bit of a rehaut acting as a track for the minutes, including dark blue 5-minute markers, white gold hands, white gold indices. They will never tarnish or oxidize, and the watch has a fair amount of lume for a dress timepiece. You'll also appreciate the Perpetual Calendar can deal with irregular length months and leap years. You don't have to reset it until the year 2100. The moonphase has an interval of 122 years from one setting to the next. Lots to love there. There's also a quick release system for the bracelet. The watch comes with two straps, one rubber, one leather. They use the same quick release, and they come with their own separate clasp. The watch features a push button trigger, so you just push and pull and it pops right off. And then you can see Geneva hallmark on both the case and on the movement, as it is a standard for the whole watch post-2012. The base is the JLC 920, created in 1967 for Vacheron, Patek, and AP, and it was only ever used by those brands. The timepiece, including basically the same driver caliber you'll find on a Royal Oak Perpetual Calendar. It's super thin and only 2.4 millimeters thick. JLC designed it to feature a rotor that's sort of a hybrid of a peripheral rotor and a center rotor. So you have this center rotor, 22 karat, quadruple finished with a compass rose pattern, but then you have this full annular ring, and this is beryllium, and it wraps all the way around the movement. So you've got a full circumferential rotor, which is why I say it's a little bit like a peripheral rotor. It winds unidirectionally, and and it sits on 4 ruby bearings that allow both the rotor and the mast to be pressed super close to the bridges and the plates, and then not come in contact even under conditions of shock. That's what the full annular rotor and the 4 bearings are responsible for, preventing shock from generating contact metal on metal. 40-hour power reserve, 19,800 vibration per hour beat rate, 36 joules, 5-position adjusted, Geneva hallmark finish, and in the finest traditions of Vacheron Constantin, finishing that is uncompromised. You could see that there is one difference between historic versions of this movement and the one you see here. Not just Geneva seal, but there's actually a Gyromac-style free-sprung balance using the variable inertia screws on the balance rim to make timing adjustments, and that is both a more precise system than a mobile stud index and also more shock tolerant. And you could see, in the interests of preserving these very fine components, not only do we have shock protection on the balance staff pivots, but actually also on the escape wheel itself. So lots going on here, and the bevels, always the highlight of one of these 1120s, broad, mirrored, and gorgeous. I love the solarization of the ratchet wheel as well as the crown wheel core. The stripe quality is excellent. We have beveling in all of the jewel and screw sinks with polished screw heads, chamfered slots in circumference, and then engine-turned perlage on the base plate. Looking very, very good. If you love this watch, reach out to Team Mosso at the 1916company.com for purchase and pricing details.